got a problem, Lottie's got the answer. She won't sugarcoat 'em, 'cause it's Lottie, and Lottie don't lie. Cause it's Lottie, and Lottie don't lie.
Welcome to Lottie Don't Lie. It's Samantha.
And Melissa. And we are here to share some experiences of our own before we start off with our awesome episode with Michelle and her daughter. And I'm really excited because Sam won't tell me what her fail is.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, every time Courtney will probably never let me live this down. So you already know it's good, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's like funny things of like what I ordered versus what I got.
Oh, yeah. And like somebody will order a rug and then it's like a little tiny, like 2-inch long rug because they didn't read the description.
Yeah. So there's this beautiful, beautiful dress that's like, and I will try to remember to post photos of it. There's this beautiful dress that like an ad on Facebook caught my attention and I just fell in love with it. And it's like the spaghetti strap top, like V-neck, and it's like looks like quilted things. Like it looks like a rag quilt that it's made out of. So like a bunch of random patches and I don't know, it, looks miscombobulated.
Oh, yeah. I want
to
to see. Post a picture.
I definitely will. Now, what I got made me so sad because what I got was a freaking like moo made out of like a pillowcase with the pixelated image of the dress that I wanted, like ironed on to it.
No.
Yeah.
You're kidding me. Like there was literally a dress with a little iron-on patch.
Yes.
On a dress?
Like it literally is the image. So like, straps and V and then like an crappy image of like what the dress is supposed to look like, just kind of pasted onto it.
Okay, that's hilarious. Did you? I'm dying. Do you have a picture of the dress when you got it?
I sure do. Yeah, I have it before and what I thought I was getting and what I got. And yeah.
You have the after, right?
Yes, I have it. Yeah.
Okay, good. I get it.
It's good. And then she was like, well, where'd you get it from? And I told her what address, like what website I got it from. And I'll have to put that on so you guys don't do that too. And she like she's so good at stalking things. And she just real quick pulled up the website. She goes, you realize that like this is common, like this website is a don't buy from, like they're bad. And I was like, oh shit, no, I didn't know that it was a Facebook ad. So I thought it was, good.
No, anybody can do a Facebook ad.
Yeah. So, there's that.
That's hilarious.
I will show you all the beautiful dress and the moo that I got inside.
And the success that came out of that fail?
Learning not to just buy shit off of Facebook.
Yes, there you go. I just want to make sure this isn't going to happen again.
Got it. That was a very sad.
You're like, I also want to make sure. Aww. Yeah. I want to be sad, but I also can't help but laugh because it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, she laughed good at that one.
That's funny.
What do you got?
So my fail is more of an experience that I had since it's Pride Month. I'm just going to share it. That it kind of actually made me a little mad, but I was proud of myself, I think, for how I handled it, because in the past I might have, I don't know. So we're in the shop and there's a lot of I wanted to say like not politically minded conservative, but just conservative women, like just that shop at the shop. I don't mean politically. I just mean as humans. I was showing somebody this fabric that's actually children's fabric and it has rainbows and clouds and sunshines on it. And the woman said to me with like a straight face and said, "Is this for the gays?" And I was like, I got so offended. And I looked at her and I said, and I knew she wanted me to say no, and I just looked at her and pretended I didn't know what she was talking about, because like, why would you have a problem with that? And so I just looked at her and said, "Oh, it can be if that's what you want it to be."
Oh my goodness. I'm just like, What?
I'm just like, this is for one, it's a children's fabric. And for two, what's wrong if it is? So what if it is? And so I just said, oh, well, is that what you'd like? It can be if you want. And I knew that's
What
not
was
what
her
she was
response to
saying. And
that?
it was, oh my gosh, no. And I was like, well,
Oh.
I said, well, I actually have a lot of people in my life that I'm very close to that do identify that way. And I don't see a problem with it. And she was just like suddenly trying to backpedal. And I'm glad I made her freaking uncomfortable. I made her very uncomfortable on purpose. And I'm
Yeah.
proud of it because I'm so over like trying to play nice and pander to people because I want to make sure they shop and give me business still. And it's like,
Right.
yes, we need business, but we also need good people in the shop. Like,
Aw.
and so I know she'll come back, but I still, yeah. Anyway, it was
Aw.
just an experience I had, and
I'm proud of
it made
you.
me sad. Thank you, but yeah, I
And I
think I
know
am a little too. That's
confrontation
why I'm
about that,
sharing
like,
it.
yeah, it's uncomfortable.
It is
It's uncomfortable
uncomfortable.
for you,
Just like
and yeah.
that's all. I just wanted to kind of say, I know we all handle things our own way, but this time I kind of was okay. I kind of had that uncomfortableness, let it just sit there. And yeah, so it was sad. It's kind of a sad fail, but also, I don't know. We all have to stand up for things in our own way, I guess.
Or is it like a badass fail? Because I'm sorry. Like, that's not
I hope so. I hope so. It's the least I could do. I feel like there's too many years that I have just kind of like not wanted that confrontation and probably didn't
Yeah.
stand up like I should have for
Yeah.
people. But I'm
I feel that
not
way
about that
too.
anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it's hard, but and it's not saying I'm not saying anyone should handle things a very like the way I did or that it was the right way, but for me it was, and I'm feeling good about it.
Aw. I like
That's all.
that. I no, that's well, I'm not gonna make this about me, so never mind. But
Oh. Well, well, now you
um
have to say.
do I
Only
have
if you want to.
No, I appreciate that story. I think that, may come surprise, surprise that I am kind of voiced that I am very bi now. And it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
comfortable to say that. And like I think if someone like would have said that to me, like, yeah, I'm not gonna go out and buy like I mean, I don't like showcase my pride stuff like all over, or anywhere we go, but it's like I would get really uncomfortable if someone was like, talking bad about like my lifestyle choices and that like I just kind of
Yeah.
get quiet because I'm like I don't know what to say.
Yeah, because people have a tendency to assume that you just think and behave and act the way that they do. So, like, I have a lot of people that'll come into the shop and they just assume that, and they'll say things like that and assume that I'm just agreeing with them. And it's like, I don't want to be quiet anymore. And it would be hard if, yeah, that makes sense, Sam. Because it's like,
Yeah.
wait, you're talking about me to me.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
I think that I probably just still would have been silent because it's so uncomfortable.
it is uncomfortable. It was. It was. But we just got to do the best we can. That's all I can say.
Well, I love you and
I
I
love you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
before we
you.
get into our episode with Michelle, which is one of your best friends that also works with you in
Mhm.
the shop, I want to remind everyone of the boudoir studio, One Soul, that we've been working with and talking with a lot. We both had such an amazing time getting to know them in and out of the studio. And just again, to remind you, we want you to experience that too. And so we have a link in our bio where you guys can click and have a free consultation with them and get a special rate for your own session. And you will love them. Just go into the studio. It's beautiful. It's so welcoming. They're welcoming, and you'll fall in love too and have a great time.
Yeah, and actually, would this be a good time to share, like, "Hey, come on out and visit us for wine and such"?
We have a wine night on Thursday, Friday the 27th. And we would love
Wait,
anyone
you said Thursday, Friday is Friday, right?
Friday. What did I say?
Okay. It was
Did I say
Friday the
Thursday?
27th.
Oh yeah.
You said Thursday, Friday the 27th, and I was like, "Wait, to be clear, Friday, the 27th, we're going to be at the One Soul Boudoir studio having a wine and cheese night and just letting people like get to see the studio and kind of like know what it's about. And it's not like you have to, oh, I'm going, I have to like
Oh yeah,
book a
there's no
session. It's
pressure.
more just
There's
going to
no.
be
This
for,
is not a sale. This is hanging out,
No,
like
it's
in
for
a
fun.
cool, beautiful place with awesome people.
Yeah. And you guys should definitely try to make it if you can. Wait, what did you say, Sam? I accidentally
I
talked
don't
over you
remember
because
what
the
I said.
lag.
I just talk.
You guys were a mess. We should probably let you get to Michelle.
Yeah. So enjoy.
So we have with us today one of my favorite people. Her name is Michelle. She actually works with me in the shop here. This is Melissa. But I think you guys know our voices by now, right?
Obviously.
Okay. So anyway, she works with me in the shop. She keeps me, as you guys have probably already know, I'm super ADD. She keeps me straight. She has been, in her past, she has had many careers. She has been a band mom extraordinaire. She worked at a dance school. She worked in a bank. She does finance. She has so many capabilities, but that's not even why we're here.
You do have credentials.
She does, actually.
I can even pump gas. I worked at a gas station.
Is that still a thing? Oh, it is. We went to a gas station and someone came out and pumped our gas.
In New Jersey?
No.
Oh, okay.
But no. But it was cool.
In New Jersey, they don't let you pump your own gas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still. It's the only state left, right?
Well, that's nice.
Does Washington? I don't know. There might
When
be
I
one
was
more.
young, I want to say Washington was still doing that, but I don't know.
I think
don't think
Jersey
anymore.
for sure.
That's cool.
They get offended.
It's
They don't
funny. We met one of the handy quilter educators that came to the shop and helped us with our expo this last time, Michelle. Lee is from New Jersey. And she was joking and being like, how would I know? I'm from New Jersey. I don't even know how to pump gas.
Oh my God, and no one would know if they didn't know.
Yeah.
Right?
How would you know?
Well, that's
So-
so funny.
You just sit there in the car waiting for somebody to show up.
It's so funny. She said she does that sometimes on accident in the beginning because she travels as an educator. And she said that like sometimes she'd get to new places and she'd forget, wait. And now she also said she would pull in, she would get out of her car and look on which side the gas tank was on and then get back in her car.
Simon just taught me.
No, that's what Lee just learned.
Simon just taught me that your car tells you what side it's on.
Yeah.
So she was telling us this really funny story and hoping we wouldn't know, but we were like, yeah. She's like, you knew that?
Oh, I didn't. It's fine. I did
Okay,
not.
she is fine. Yes, she's so funny though. Okay, yeah. See, if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
But if I would have heard someone say, how would I know how to pump gas? I'm from Jersey. I would have been like, are they rich or something? Like, I wouldn't have known that you don't
Right.
pump your own
Again,
gas.
if you don't know, you don't know. That is the common theme of this episode, I guess.
Oh, yeah. It's going to go right in.
It is. I think so. Because Michelle's going to talk to us about not knowing some things and then finding them out.
As a parent, you don't know things until you know things because there is no handbook that says this is how you parent and this is the right way and how you're going to survive. Every kid's different and how you handle each kid. Even if you have 5 kids, you have to parent them differently and they're going to throw something new at you that you haven't experienced yet.
Right.
Michelle has a story that we thought would be interesting to kind of ask questions and pick her brains on how she was able to parent that and that situation because we do have a friend. I'm just going about this wrong.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're going about it perfectly. I was just going to say about what you were about to say. We actually had in a past episode, do you guys remember talking to Yellow in our very first season? And she was talking about coming out in this world and she came out to her parents and they had a really difficult time with it. And she just had a totally different perspective, I think, than a lot of people who've had to come out in the past to their parents. And she was just like, they love you, but they also had built in their mind like a life that they thought you were going to live. And so they just have to like kind of get used to the new, right?
Absolutely.
That's the perfect way that you're explaining it. It was, I think, if I remember correctly, her exact words were they have to go through a mourning of the life that they expected and thought you were going to have. And, you have to give them time. And we thought that was interesting because you do hear like, oh, I came out and my parents weren't okay with it and, you know, they kicked me out or whatever. And it's like really dramatic. And that unfortunately is the story that a lot of people coming out do have to go through. But it was eye-opening to hear, you know, maybe that was my story and had to go through something along those lines. But at the same time, I'm able to recognize that they are struggling too.
Right. So Michelle actually is going to share her story with us.
Hi, Skirts Up Squad. We have someone else introducing yourself.
Okay, I am going to say, I think I'm like 90.9999% sure Michelle's our biggest fan.
Yes.
You've been
Yes,
every
I do.
episode,
I
think.
do. Yes.
Aw,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
been the favorite?
I would. Should we mention it?
Do
But
it.
Melissa.
Well,
No, you're
Walker?
yes. 'Cause- yes, it wasn't me that brought her name up today.
Yeah.
It was me. I'm sorry.
I love that.
But I love the whole idea of the baby therapists and that people who may not have a lot of money, because it takes money and it takes more than money, but it takes money to get therapy, and that there is therapy out there hopefully for everybody, and not every therapist works, because we went through that with Emily in high school, that she had this older lady and it just, there was just no way this lady was going to be at all.
I'm so glad that you said that.
Yeah, me too,
Yeah.
Because
actually.
you're not the only one that has said that episode, because it pinpointed how, even if it's a baby therapist, you can get help. And so I kind of forget sometimes
Yeah.
that like that was a really helpful episode.
It
I
was,
think so
yeah.
too. So yeah, okay, wow. So Emily was in therapy too in
Yes.
high school. Have you ever actually, just out of curiosity?
No, I have not.
Okay.
What was? Can I ask what that was for?
It was actually something she said at school, and that triggered then the counselor, and so it was funny because we got forced into the therapy because I didn't know, but then I definitely advocated against the lady she didn't like, because that wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to be the thing, and we got her somebody that she did like, but she was cutting. And
So hard.
yeah, for sure.
All my friends, like that was my friend group. Yeah. Once the school finds out, you kind of don't have an option.
Right.
Yeah.
But then she almost got in trouble because of all the therapy that was happening. Then we were like in this window of, you've missed too much school, even though they forced the therapy. It was like this whole thing. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I
So
had
it's like
some
she couldn't
problems with
miss any
school.
more school. It was like it became this whole
Oh,
kind of
that's an
thing.
issue to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like they want her to be her most healthy self, so they
learn.
pretend.
Right.
They try to advocate or pretend they're advocating for her, but then as soon as she's like taking the steps to be healthy,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you're missing school
And
now."
that's probably
Well, then
for
it's
what,
about
12
the
days?
parent, because because you
Oh.
got the parent has to make sure you go to
and
school,
then you get in trouble.
and then you
truancy.
get in trouble. So
Oh, you're right.
You get like 12 days, and then it's like if they miss any more, then you get reported, and then
yeah.
I thought you were saying you get 12 days of prison.
no. You get 12 absences
Okay.
that are unexcused, I believe.
Gotcha.
But these were excused. Like
course.
we had all the stuff, but still she needed to also.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, that was her freshman year, and then we moved to
Wow, she's a
Georgia.
baby.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't
okay.
mind. Just kind of a little history. And
Okay. We're from Ohio, and we were in Columbus, Ohio, and she was actually, when she came out, she was in 8th grade, but she was in the high school band, so we were on a high school band trip.
Okay.
Because you could do that in Ohio. You could do the high school classes early, which I don't think you can do that here.
What do you mean?
Like she already was taking algebra and Spanish and band in
Okay.
high school, even though, because they were connected, the schools, or kind of across the street.
Oh, got you.
So she had some classes going into high school before she even got into high
Kind of
school.
like kids taking AP classes and going like
College.
Okay.
Yeah,
But she did it in junior and high.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
She's so smart too.
yeah, yeah.
She's a smart girl.
Yeah. Yeah. So I found out on a band trip. We were in New York City on this band trip, and I get a text, "Mom, I'm gay." And I'm at the front of the bus and she's in the back of the bus, right? And so
Wait, did a friend like dare her to say it, or?
well, that's what so I peek up and I'm like, does somebody have her phone? Like, are they, because she's in 8th grade with these high schoolers. So I was like, did they take her phone? Are they teasing her? Because I had no clue.
Was she at all bullied at all, and you thought that was where you went to, or you just kind of like
I just was
not expecting that, so that's where you went?
So I was
this a
like,
joke?
well, maybe they've got her phone and they're just teasing her. And she's the baby of the on the bus. There were other 8th graders. She wasn't the only one, but not very many. But still, you still think, well, these are high schoolers, so maybe I should look. And no, there was totally calm back there, like they were all sleeping or whatever. And I'm like, oh, so I'm like, okay.
She trusted you.
Yeah, totally, right?
And it couldn't, though, as I don't know, I guess I should ask in a minute, like maybe what your relationship was like together, if it was like really close and really, really open. But in my mind, I could see that being, she can't overreact right now. We're on a bus.
Right, we're on a bus. We're on
this is
trip.
public. She can't freak out on me.
Interesting.
But I think it also because
I was the opposite.
where we were, what I was very LGBT friendly.
The high school?
Yeah, the high school, the city. And so I think it also, this trip and being around these high schoolers who several of them were also in the community, I think it just gave her the courage too.
Okay.
Or maybe the knowledge or whatever, it helped her to, say something.
Wow.
Because at first, your first reaction is like, well, you're only in 8th grade, like you're still a baby.
Do you know what you want?
Yeah, because
Kinda.
but I know that people know way early.
Yeah. I mean, kids in 8th grade are dating straightly,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah. See, I didn't think of that way. I don't think of them
it's so
as dating.
interesting because you're right. Like now, I don't know, were you guys I was pretty sheltered. I wasn't even allowed to like even think about dating until I was 16.
We had boyfriends in 8th grade. We'd go to the mall, and mom would be in one side of the mall, and we'd get to hold hands and go perusing.
Yeah.
Well, she was so busy with her band and dancing, and well, no way she wasn't dancing anymore. But it just seemed like she was so busy. There were the school dances, but then you've kind of, if you were a chaperone, they were on a separate sides of the room sometimes.
Got you.
So I just wasn't even thinking of the dating scene.
Yeah.
She's a baby.
But to answer your question, Sam, I was like, I was a stay-at-home mom, although I worked at her preschool. When she went to preschool, I worked at her preschool. And when she went to elementary, I worked at her elementary.
That was my mom's dream. She wanted to work in my school so that she could be still with me.
Yeah.
Aww.
So I was totally like that. And then I was at her dance studio. So I was totally like available to drive her around, encourage all of her things. And then in middle school, you kind of have to step back. So I worked at I just volunteered at the library one day a week. And that's when I then got the bank job, was when she was in, actually I was in high school, but middle school kind of starts to wean you from your kids a little bit. The teachers don't want the help that the elementary school teachers did. Yeah.
They're kind of like, I got this.
Yeah.
Was the elementary school, like, was she at an age in elementary school where she started to like, Mom, you're too close to me, like go to your classroom or whatever?
She actually, I won, it's called a GEM Award, which was for volunteering for the school. I got nominated by 2 people, and one of them was Emily.
Aww.
Which is flooring, because you don't know until after.
How old was she?
4th or 5th grade.
That's so
right. So she had to write up a paper. She didn't even do her homework. And she had to write up a paper as to why I deserved it and all this stuff. So yeah, that was.
But your heart just
super.
exploded.
Yeah.
So she has always appreciated all the work you put in. It's never been like a. Did you go through the stage of teen stage of I hate mom, I'm just doing everything wrong?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. High school was rough. Oh my God, high school was so rough. Because I would like the demands, and she could come home and she'd be like, slam the door, go up to her room and never talk to you, or come and sit on the couch and talk to you. You just never knew what you were getting, what was going to walk through that door. And you couldn't ask.
That's true. If my parents had tried to be like, what are we getting today? I would have been like,
Yeah.
Well, now it's a door.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's the door.
And if the door slams, you're like, well, that must have been a bad day, but you obviously you don't want to talk about it. You know, so you kind of have that whole
Oh
thing.
boy.
So yeah. So I'd say and then, back to the, I was just like, okay, cool, it made me sad as far as like a parent, because I thought, oh, your life just got harder. I felt like, wow, because it's hard. Life's hard enough, right?
You're right.
And then if you put this element that's not always accepted and not always, you just felt like it just made life harder.
And actually usually not accepted, especially I was gonna say when I was young, but maybe Emily's still she's 24
Oh, yeah. She's 24.
Oh
No, she's 27.
she's 27. Michelle's like, I was gonna be younger for a
I
second.
was. I was enjoying it.
Oh, I see that selfishness.
Yes.
I'm younger.
Please. No, she's just 18. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
she's a baby.
Because I was thinking, when I was young, it was not accepted. We had Matthew. I'm so embarrassed that I forgot his last name because it should never have been forgotten. But obviously, tortured and beaten for his identity in the 90s. And I remember that happening. And so I guess she's more in the 2000s, but still, it's not accepted.
But
all the time. And that's-
anytime any of her friends who have super religious parents, they can get kicked out. They can get, and it's just sad because you're just trying to be who you are, and these are the people who you love and want to, who are your family.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you mean nothing to them. I don't understand that. I could have never
I don't either.
done that to her.
Right.
So, and that makes life even harder if you don't have your family to back you up
Right.
and everything. So,
So you're sad about the struggles that you already see.
yeah.
How long did it take until you were able to verbally address it with her? Because you're trapped on a school bus.
Oh yeah. So did you text her right away? I wanted to know that
Yeah,
too.
I said, oh, cool. Because I always say everything's cool.
She says cool beans. I got her a sticker that says cool beans.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is. So
yeah, that's and then for the rest of the trip, she actually sat with me on the bus because I didn't come back as negative. And I think she'd also texted, will you tell Dad? And I said, yeah, I'll tell Dad. No big deal. I have
Now
no
how
problem
did
with that.
Dad? Now,
surely you waited
were
until
they
you got
close?
home.
Yes.
Yeah.
He traveled a lot. So yes, they're close, and he adores the bejeebies out of her.
I've
But-
actually seen him with her. And
Yeah,
thinks
he
she's
does.
pretty great.
'Cause
She is.
But he did travel all the time. So I wouldn't say on the same level because I was the one in the mud doing all this stuff. And he spent at least 2 weeks every month in Portland, Oregon. We would even tease on a holiday, we'd say, oh, because he had a second family, and we'd say, oh, we won.
Oh my God.
But
It was just work.
so yeah, and he's from Indiana, so it's very conservative, Indiana in general. Not all Indiana people are, but it was a thing. I had to tell him, and then he, of course, she was in 8th grade, like I said, and then he's like, well, what does she know? That kind of stuff. I'm like, well, you're gonna accept it, and you're gonna,
Ooh, you just said, hey, this is how
This
it
is
is,
how it
and
is,
you're
and-
not gonna approach her and
yeah.
not.
And
that
I was
he-
ready for that with all the family, even the grandparents, and it
Just
was
immediately.
shocking how
Yeah,
how well they
she's such a good mom.
accepted. Yeah, how well they accepted her.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know if they knew or if you just once you get sometimes not with all families, but sometimes when you get that, you just are like, this is my granddaughter. I have loved her this whole time. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
still love her, and they've been very accepting of.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And
so-
they're pretty conservative.
yeah, they're from Indiana. Even my dad, who's from Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
But just because you think old school, he's 20 years older than me, and you just think, as hopefully life is getting better and easier, and it's getting more accepted. But back in the way,
Right.
it wasn't. And,
Right.
And
So
you can-
what made you feel like this is okay? It's fine. What made you not bat an eye? if you grew up in a conservative home, like what would have made you?
Oh, I didn't. Alan
You did
did.
not. Oh,
No,
okay,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Oh,
Alan
I thought
did.
you were saying your dad was conservative in
Well, he's, no. Ohio's
not true
Ohio's
conservative.
much, yeah. Like I say, in Columbus, it was just there. So I had friends that were her preschool she went to. They had a lesbian. It was a Montessori school, and there was a lesbian couple that were doing the preschool, the 3 to 6 age group. So it was very much around it more. And so yeah, I guess I had the precursor in life to be like, oh, okay, and just continue on.
Yeah, I was my best friend when I was like youngest, like my first friend. She had 2 moms. And I remember not even thinking anything of it. Like I was like, oh, cool. Like this is awesome. And like never thinking anything of it. But then one of my parents is just, not a great human. And so I would hear like all this negativity about it. And as a kid, you get like really confused. And I just remember thinking like, why is it weird? Like there's still 2 parents.
You're like, I don't
I think I
understand.
found it more weird when a friend was like, oh, my parents got divorced, so I'm just with my dad or something. Then I'd be like, whoa, that's weird. But like to hear 2 moms or I have 2 dads or something, I was like, oh, 2 parents. That makes sense. Like,
Yeah. I didn't want to put like a negative slant on the family. So that's not what I'm trying to do with this question. But I do wonder because growing up in the place and where I grew up, it was very much this idea of love the sinner, hate the sin. And it's like, that is not acceptance.
oh, that's not acceptance.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there was any of this. So like with the family and Emily and the grandparents, how would you say it was like true? Would you say it was true deep acceptance? Or was it more like, I accept you and I love you. I do hope that you
I hope to
come
change
to
your
your
mind.
senses. You know what I mean? Right.
I would say I had a friend actually that I walked with every day in the mornings, and she tried to say, Emily needs to see our youth minister.
Whoa.
And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen, and she's not going to see her youth minister. But the family, they probably were hesitant, and they probably maybe hoped that she would be wrong.
Right.
Phase out.
But they
in quotes.
never ever like really verbalized it or made a thing about it.
That's good.
At least to us.
They let her know.
Yeah. And they could have known. I'm pretty
Love.
strong. Even in Indiana, I think they were like, wow, what are we getting
Okay,
into?
so wait, what you guys don't know is Michelle is what, 4'11"?
Yeah, 4'10".
4'10". Okay, sorry.
No, hey, give it to me. Take the inch.
And she is tough.
Yeah.
Like you stand up
Yeah.
for people. Like I feel like you protect me a lot of the times.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so-
well, right, yeah.
You do.
Yeah, I can do that.
I know.
If it's wrong, it's wrong.
I like that. You will not step on my friend.
And
No.
she's so accepting of everything.
She's
you give her
such
an
a good
extra inch
person.
and she's like, yeah. You give her
An extra year
3
or
years.
2 on her life.
yeah. You stand up for me. Yeah, I do that.
You're not taking our electric.
That's right. Oh, we had that happen.
we did.
She
Oh, I
does.
love it.
She tells people what's up. And so like
I'm putting that in my phone. Ask Michelle to help me out.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And so like, yeah, there probably could have been an element of that, but it's nice to know that they, regardless, I guess.
Yeah. They never made her feel like different or that,
Yeah.
that she wasn't accepted,
Oh, that's
which was
nice.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't get that.
Too many people don't. It's just sad.
So you mentioned that there was the incident where the school found out about cutting and then mandated therapy. Is this before this text or after?
Oh, it would have been after because it was in high school. So I think she had a I don't know what caused it. And I don't
Now,
want
just to clarify, because this is a little confusing for me, 8th grade in the schools in Georgia in the South is high school. But from hearing the ages that you're talking about, high school, middle school, it sounds like the grades are a little different.
Well, no, 8th grade is junior high, but you can take high school classes.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we're broken up like that, right?
No, I didn't get that impression.
Wait, no,
Yeah.
I'm wrong. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay. Yeah.
Usually, yeah, I know.
She always does that to me too, and I'm like, damn it.
Okay, I was confused, you know.
Yeah.
Been out of school a long time. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. So in 8th grade is when she texts you, and then
Yes.
high school is when the incidents.
It's when she started cutting, or at least when they found out about the cutting.
Right.
And you had not known.
No, I didn't know. I didn't have a clue. And then the old therapist I was talking about, she was like, "You need to remove all the knives in the house," and I was like, "Well, that seems extreme," because I don't know. It sounded wrong the way she said it.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. Yeah. so we
You
got
had
her.
feelings already too.
Yeah.
Like Emily doesn't like her. That also seems a little extra. So
Yeah.
how did you find somebody that
Well,
would work?
same like
practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, then that's very
Yeah,
lucky.
and I just asked for a new one. I said we need to try a new one, and so we did.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, thanks.
Because it's really hard to advocate for yourself, and as a teen, your parents for sure need to be advocating for you.
Yeah.
And not always do they.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
in the right way.
Yeah.
I think that I am I oh,
No, right way. Yes.
Yeah,
I like
that.
that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I probably should take that back. I do think most parents are trying everything that they can because they love their children.
Yeah.
Just sometimes it's not always.
But they need the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cutting is in high school. This is after she's come out. Did you ever learn one? Because I was around that, like all my friends literally were, and actually they all got suspended. I did not. I was not a part of that. But they actually ended up all getting suspended for it because they were doing that and then taking like ibuprofen or something also at school for it. And
I don't understand the suspense. I feel like
they all
should've-
got suspended. And then because all their parents worked, my mom ended up having to watch all of them. And they had all of their school work at home. And then my mom gave all of them like strict chores, like, hey, have you ever changed a shower curtain before? And they're like, no. And she goes, good, I have 3 showers.
I'm like, how did your mom get so lucky? She got her own little work
Yeah, one of my friends is still like traumatized. She goes, like, anytime she still like sees my mom, she goes, I'm not touching your shower. She goes, that's fine. But
hilarious.
yeah, but I saw how like their moms felt and how it was like in their house after all that. And you could tell that that's very alarming for them, and they all reacted differently in how they handled it. One of them did remove bathroom doors, bedroom doors.
Whoa.
All privacy. It was a privilege and was all removed. So extreme. Like, how did that feel for you? And did you ever get kind of answers of what brought that on?
Oh yeah, and did you know other parents that were dealing with this?
Oh, not
Or
really.
other children.
But it seemed like it was, and this probably sounds really weird, but it seemed really in at the time too. But I
You're
don't
not
know
wrong.
other parents that were like, no other parents were talking about
No, you're
it.
not wrong, because she's only 3 years younger than me. So yeah, that's about
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
But I don't think it had to do with being a lesbian as much as she did have a breakup. So maybe that, and I don't know. You know, I guess I don't really know why she started cutting, but, you know, and I didn't understand it because like I'll eat chocolate all day long, but yet I don't understand, which is not helping your body.
Right.
But yet the whole cutting just
Also
really was
not
hard
helping,
to
but like
comprehend.
what? Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
I'm hurting myself in other ways
Right.
by being unhealthy, but I still don't understand why.
Right.
So I actually have some insight on that because I I've been there. So I'll just share this if you don't mind, but I had a miscarriage and it was really traumatic, and I will probably share the story at some point. That being said, when Mother's Day rolled around the next year, and at the time my husband was traveling and I was alone, I was deeply, deeply hurting. And I cut myself, and I don't know how to explain it other than to say I just wanted to lose the blood that I should have lost during childbirth.
Oh.
And so like sometimes you just think you have to punish yourself.
Do you think it was that, or that you're hurting so bad that might as well make something hurt worse?
Nope.
No?
It was just, I just want to bleed. I just want to hurt all the way. I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. And I wish I could, because then maybe more people could understand and have empathy for those who are doing it. Because it's not like you're just wanting to, I don't know. It's a true it's a true release of pain. It's a true like therapeutic weird thing. And I'm not endorsing it by any means, because it is very unhealthy. But it's a way to it's a way of release. Kind of like yawning when you're tired. But very extreme. But anyway, I didn't mean to take it away from Emily, but I did think that it was something kind of
It's
important.
relevant.
Yeah.
It's relevant.
Yeah.
And I don't think her being gay was it. She seemed like gay and proud. Like she was telling everybody.
Oh.
Yeah, and she she was just seemed so proud, and it wasn't like, well, we can't go tell grandma or we can't go tell this person. And even when we were moving to Georgia, which was after her freshman year, because my husband got transferred, we were like, now this is the South.
Oh.
You're going to this
Try to
school.
prep
You're
her.
brand new at this school. Yeah, we were. Yeah. And we're like, just get a feel for it. And she's like, nope.
Oh, no.
You know, like, you'll accept me or you won't. And we're just like, oh, you know, because you don't want her to get hurt.
Right.
You know, but yeah, and she was fine.
And it's
That's
like one of
amazing.
those, like, oh, you're going to stick to your guns. Okay, I got to get my punching gloves on.
Right,
Like, I don't have a choice now.
Be the mama bear.
Exactly.
Come, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'll get ready.
Just like she did a report about Jimmy Carter here.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't a flattering
go
one because he was better after than during or whatever you think. But we're just like, know your audience. Like, what are you doing? Out of all the presidents you want to dish on, why him? Like,
He's from here.
you know, so you know, you try, but they don't care. They don't listen.
Oh, that is so funny. So she's always been against the grain, and I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So
And we're close now to this day. So very close. Yeah.
It's really cute to watch you guys.
Yeah.
I actually so yesterday I had a friend here at the shop, and we're recording at the shop, just so everybody knows. But today she was flipping through our
the bananas.
She was flipping through all of the designs that we can quilt onto a quilt, and she saw these crazy bananas. She's like, "That's hilarious. Has anybody ever used that?" And I said, "Yes. As a matter of fact, Emily moved to LA. And she called her mom and said, I have a quilting emergency." And Michelle said, "Okay, what? But also there's no such thing as a quilting emergency." And she said, "I bought sheets with bananas on them and I need a quilt with bananas."
Oh, she did. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cute to like, you guys are very close.
Yeah.
And I love
Which
kind
is
of seeing
awesome.
that. Yeah.
How you did say that there was the teen transition of mom can't do anything right. How did you transition out of that stage?
That was a good
College.
question.
Just distance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She went to Middle Tennessee State
Okay.
for sound. And so college definitely helps put that distance.
I've heard people say things like, "Oh yeah,
It gets you ready.
it
Gets you ready for them to leave.
Like, please
if
do
you were
leave.
still like this, you'd be like, you can't go anywhere. I was already bad enough because she wanted to go to California, which is ironic.
because now she is there."
Yeah, and I gave her a little square of where she could go. Just because, I mean, like, it's like, no, if you have problems in California, that's a flight. That's 2-day
Not like
drive.
yeah.
I said, if you have problems in Tennessee, I can get there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go to school in Georgia. But
That's how my mom was. Like, even South Carolina, one of us being in South Carolina, when her here, she was like, no.
yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I gave her a little.
Oh, that's awesome.
And now she's in California, which she's been dying to do ever off her whole
But
life.
that's gotta feel good because that was her dream goal.
Yeah.
So, in a way.
Can we share what she had credits on? Because it's already out. Didn't she have credits on like the Pokemon?
Oh, yeah, she used to work on Pokemon, yeah.
Yeah.
Helping dub on Pokemon.
Oh, nice.
She's very smart and
Yeah.
fancy out there. I was wondering, did it change anything for you? Like your worldviews having a daughter come out? or a child?
I guess not, because like I say, with her preschool, the Montessori preschool, I had so many friends that were in that community that I guess it's just when you know people and you are friends with people, you just,
attract the same.
yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, because I think one of the biggest things that can happen in our communities is that not enough diversity. And when you pull in more and different types of people, you're so much less likely to just say, oh, I don't like that kind of person, because that kind of person is right next to you and they're your friend, right? And so like the more you can get a group of people that don't think like you, the more you can have empathy for them. And I just think that is a really important thing to help the world keep going around.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that, well, I don't have children, but if I ever did, I think, yeah, I want to try to get to a very diverse place and raise them where they can meet a lot of different kinds of people and just have that acceptance, because like you said, that primed you, it sounds like.
Yeah, it really did.
Did you see the ugly of the world that you were expecting at first?
Oh,
That's a good question, because
that is a good question, right? Because that was a big worry. Probably not, just because of how out and proud she was. I've seen it a little, and I've definitely seen it through her friends who all of a sudden are homeless, or
Oh boy.
and I know like one boy was going through it, and then he got kicked out, and then he went back home and he said he was cured, which wasn't true, but yet that he had a home then.
Oh,
You know,
that's so
he
sad.
yeah, that is sad. And then maybe once he got older, you know,
He was able
hopefully he came back out or could come back out, but because that was that was like a banned person, so I don't know what's happened. But yeah, so I've seen it a little, and she says, you know, when her and her roommate, she's lesbian too, but she didn't know, I should say. In college, when they would be out together, people would look at them like they were unicorns and go, "Oh, look at the lesbian couple," you know. So you can get that and she goes, sometimes you feel like an exhibit at a zoo because you know.
Actually, that's another thing. I was kind of hesitant to ask you to come talk, because I do feel like sometimes when we want to have conversations about all kinds of things, but I never want anyone to feel like, oh, I'm not this. They're looking at me like I'm a spokesperson for all of this.
Yeah,
And that's not at all.
This is one experience, one side of the story.
Yeah.
This is not.
And we know it can go to many different ways. And so I'm glad that you said that, because it's really easy to kind of make somebody an exhibit.
Yeah.
And then act like.
No, I would love to hear. There's someone on mind that would be really interesting to hear their specific side of what it was like to come out, because it's an even further back generation, and it was not easy. So
different.
Yeah, like in the 80s, you didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
And the 90s was,
and you
people
call
were
people
talking about it,
names.
but it was very dangerous.
I mean, you weren't even allowed to get
call people
married
is
until
awful.
I was already out of high school, if I remember correctly.
Wait, what?
Like, you weren't even
Oh, yeah.
able to get married until I was already graduated from high school. So it's like,
Oh, gay couples.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, sorry,
Okay.
sorry,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And
got
not
it.
even in every state.
so it really, I don't know if it's taken a long time for it to be even something thought of or accepted.
As much as it is.
Yeah.
But we still have a long way to go.
But it's just making me think of like, oh yeah, there's like 100 different ways that
this could have
you could have
gone.
felt, you could have experienced, she could have felt. Like, there's so many different possibilities that like yours is probably your perspective and how it was for you and your daughter is the perfect, like, ideal,
Yeah.
what you would hope and want.
Yeah.
If it were you.
For everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Did she have any? Well, no, you said she was out and proud. I wanted to say, I thought that you had said before that there was people who rejected her and you had to kind of drop as friends along the way.
Oh, sure. I mean, like I say, my friend that I walked with all the
Oh,
time
that's right.
thought she could save her by sending her to the youth minister. And it's just like, it's not a choice. Nobody makes the choice. And I do have friends who are more radical about their LGBT, where if you aren't going to get it right, they're not going to talk to you anymore. I'm a less like that.
Like pronouns.
Yeah, pronouns are a good one. Or just even acceptance. Like I told her no, my friend. I said no, I'm not sending her to your youth minister, but I didn't unfriend her
Okay.
because I feel like people sometimes you need it to be in your family to even understand that you could be accepting.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not accepting because you've never had somebody you love
Yeah.
say hey, I'm this way or whatever. And I think people, if you once you experience it, hopefully, I mean, obviously there are people that have their religious beliefs that do not, no matter what, they feel like that's a sin.
Comes first. It's so sad.
What? Yeah.
People and love should always come first, but
Yeah, for sure. But
Just now, what I heard is that, no one's had to be put in the situation where you not have to, but you should, you want to, accept your family because it's family. But that was the first time that you also encountered that too. And you were just immediately like, oh, I got you.
yeah.
And so,
But it wasn't. That comes back to the whole thing of diversity. And she had surrounded herself with different types of people in her
Sure.
oh,
in her
that's right.
life,
That's
Yeah,
right.
true.
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And so I think it's interesting when you're saying, let's not cut them out of our lives. And yes, there are times when the only healthy thing to do is to cut someone out of your life. So I am not saying you
Last
guys,
resort.
yes, you guys know that I'm not a black and white person. I know there's reasons and times you do some things, but if you can try to keep these people in your life and show them how love could be, is what that's the ideal,
Yeah.
right? We
Help
hope.
them grow.
We hope, yeah. I do think that's,
Yeah.
but it doesn't always work that way. I know.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's interesting. It's very, life is so weird. And it's like, you wish you could be like, yeah, these are the rules, but there are no rules because everyone is so different.
Yeah.
And maybe, like we said, maybe you keep that walking partner friend in your life and let her see the love that you have for your daughter. But then maybe you might have to the next person be like, oh no, you're toxic.
Yeah.
But then also, the other perspective is her daughter. So what if she knows that your friend that you're close friends with spend, every day or whatever with,
Yeah, that's true.
has disdain towards her for her choices? What does that say to your daughter if you're like, just ignore her? It is what it is.
Yeah. We laughed about it because obviously I wasn't going to send her to the youth minister.
Right.
And so we kind of laughed about it
But see, if you would have remained friends with your friend or, that close, then maybe Emily would have felt like, oh, you don't have my back. Like, would she have felt protected?
Right.
That's
I
why
still
there's
think she
no
was.
freaking rules though, right?
Right, yeah.
Because Emily, maybe anyway child would have, right?
Maybe another child.
You're right, though.
Yeah. I guess what we are learning is that it didn't matter to her what anyone
said.
But
It could.
another child, it could have,
Right.
shut them down and been like, oh, mom doesn't have my back.
Yeah.
So,
But it was her best friend's mom.
oh,
So I think she was just like,
Oh, please.
she.
Oh, Sandra.
Yeah. It was Sandra.
Oh, classic Sandra.
Yeah.
wait, is that right? Her name?
I don't know.
No, we used it a fake name.
I was like, wait a second, am I cutting this?
No, it's a fake name.
It's just classic Sandra.
Oh my god, I literally started oh shit, do I have to cut this? I got a mental note.
No, it's a fake name.
Well, this again is the perfect example of how it could and really should go for anyone who is faced with yeah, this is me, and
You're going to accept me. And if you don't, then I don't
I don't care.
Yeah.
But like we said again, that's not even probably a fraction of what most people experience.
Yeah, and I do think and believe there's also that same person who's just in a different place who could say, I am who I am, accept me, and then still get persecuted. So
There's so many different perspectives that I would love to like talk to. Like, it would be challenging, but it would be interesting to also talk to someone who is super conservative and, you know, did not accept their child once this happened, to try and see if we can figure out like what is it? Is it a childhood? Is it really religion? Like, what is it that makes this so unbearable?
It is so interesting because I do have a good friend, and maybe she'll talk about it at some point, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
But when her daughter came out, I remember her daughter crying and begging her, like, hey, if you vote like in the political thing for this person, I'm going to feel completely betrayed, and I've never felt betrayed by you before. And that was the thing that kind of made her think, what am I voting for? And actually, I don't know where she is 100% these days. Well, I know she's not conservative. So actually, yes, I do know. But she was able to slowly kind of start looking at things and saying, what am I voting for? And it did change her perspective. But she didn't, but there are people who do abandon their children, and there's conservatives who don't. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Sam said, yeah.
I look at you and I say that though, because I feel like another perspective is that sometimes I do feel like when an individual like that says, you know, if you do this or don't do this, like, I'm going to feel abandoned and not respected by you. Sometimes the way I see that, it comes off as bullying, like you will understand and see my point, or we're not going to have a relationship. And I have a hard time with that kind of cut and dry.
Fair.
Like,
Right.
So it was coming from like a 14-year-old who was just, and it was no ultimatum.
you don't, I mean, you don't have to like, you know.
It could be that way, but this
There's
one
adults
wasn't.
though. You know, there's adults
100%.
who are like, if you don't vote this way, I will not be talking to you anymore, Mom, because I will feel disrespected. And I feel like that is a form, like if you had such a good relationship, but then just something over a difference of a vote, which I hear you. The votes are a big deal. Like, I get that. But that sounds like bullying to me. Like, if you don't do this, I will not talk to you ever again. And
So that's not what she said, though.
yeah,
But that does happen.
Yeah,
It does
yeah,
happen.
yeah. That's the only way I looked at you. I was like, well, the other side is. But yeah, I'm not saying it's, you know, that person. But
it was interesting to like have her be like, Mom, and then like, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can vote for somebody that wants to hurt me.
I think that is really brave, though, of a teenager to be able to have like.
They had such a good
but as like
relationship.
This is how I see it.
It was big of the mom too to be able to say, "Oh,
I'll hear you
Let
out.
me look.
Yeah,
let
listen.
me think." And I think it was over a course of a few
You're not
years,
wrong.
right?
That is really impressive on both sides to be able to say, like, have that mutual respect of, okay, I will hear you out. You're gonna hear me out, and then being able to.
Yeah, and I will say that I want to say this person's dad did not change. He has changed since, I would say, just because of his own, you know, but she had them looking at their lives and why they were voting the way they were voting. And it was just interesting. And I'm not saying that all conservatives need to change to accept their kids. That's not at all what I'm saying. But it's interesting.
It comes down to respect. But there's a reason that everyone feels and believes so strongly how they do. So I guess my curiosity comes into picking everyone's brains on like, well, where did that come from? Like I'm a therapist or something. Like,
right.
What happened to you?
It's interesting. It really is. Because it's like we want to, like, if we could understand each other's motives, right?
Yeah.
then maybe we wouldn't have. And again, I feel like it just all comes down to the same thing on this whole episode. I'm like, I found the theme. Like diversity. Like if we can just keep surrounding ourselves with different types of people, we can start learning motives and just understanding a little bit about why people do what they do.
Yeah. Just seeing a bigger picture
That.
instead of
That's
that
a good way to say
narrow
it.
picture that you have.
Yeah.
The diversity helps you see a bigger world.
Yeah. And like you said, have mutual respect for each other.
More food for thought per usual. So we'll be thinking. And I'm sure we'll have more conversations on this because there are more things to be curious about.
There are.
So thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for having me.
Michelle.
I know you've been waiting forever to be on.
I know.
She literally has been like from the first episode when no one knew who we were. She would listen to everything. People know who we are?
I couldn't wait for the episode to drop.
What'd you say?
I couldn't wait for the episode to drop.
It was
Like,
so cute. And she'd come into work and she'd be like, oh my gosh, I have opinions. Yes, I have opinions.
I love that.
I do too. I do too. We're so lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing some difficult and not so difficult.
It's not difficult. She's proud of it. Her daughter's proud of it.
That's true.
It's not difficult,
Yeah.
but a perspective.
Yes.
We do appreciate it.
So, all right, now we're being awkward. Bye. Did you like the episode that you heard today? Great. Share it with a friend and don't forget to rate and review.